Hey, welcome back everybody. So, figured we'd take a little bit of a break from the tree content, at least for this video, and do something that was requested in the comments from some of you. I know some of you were interested in seeing what I carry on my saddle. Now, I'm thinking I'll probably have to do an updated version because I do plan on buying some more stuff. You guys know I'm a little gear happy, so I probably will be purchasing new stuff here in the future. But for now, this is what I got. This is the setup that I run. And yeah, I mean, this isn't everything, by the way. So if you guys are interested in seeing most of what I got, then feel free to let me know down in the comments, and I can always do that. I do try to stay well equipped, but as most of you know, this stuff is pretty expensive. So trying to get everything and anything it can get a little bit pricey, but you know, I like to be prepared. So yeah, without further ado, I will show you guys kind of the bare bones stuff, just on the climbing saddle. I'll go over some ropes that I got, and yeah, I'll just show you guys what I got. Okay, so I apologize if the lighting's a little bit off. I hope everything's in good view and you guys can see everything. I wanted to start off really quick with the smaller stuff. So for hand saws, I actually do carry two types. I like the Tsurugi. This is more so for finer pruning, when you go up smaller trees, stuff like that, really softwood trees. This blade is honestly the nicest to be able to do stuff like that. I prefer these for the comps just because the blades are so small that I could tape the ends there pretty easily. I did used to have the notch talon on this. I took it off and I put it on this new one that I got. I am a big fan of the Zubat just because how versatile it is. I can do removals and I can do pruning with this, and it's not too big and bulky. It's kind of right there in the middle. Cuts really great. Normally on removals, sometimes I'll need that extra little oomph if I'm chunking something down, or maybe a limb's kind of in a funny position and I don't want a one-hand cut, so pull this bad boy out. And yeah, we're chilling with this one. So it's definitely got a little bit of use already. It was brand new not too long ago, but highly recommend having a Zubat in your arsenal. It's definitely one of my favorites. And I've tried the notch one. I've tried the Weaver, or the Fano hand saws, and honestly, Silky is just top of the line. Like, it's definitely worth the money, in my opinion. The one thing that I will say, for the leg strap, this notch talon, which is what it's called, is not worth it. And every single person that I've talked to about it says the exact same thing. The Velcro is crap. It's not going to last you very long. Honestly, I just don't think it's worth the money. You can get, I think, the Silky Pod for around the same, if not less. So if you guys are in the market looking for something to attach to your leg, highly recommend looking at the Silky Pod. Don't go for the notch talon. It's not worth your money. So as soon as, like I said, I will be buying stuff, and I'm definitely going to be transferring over to the Silky Pod. But for now, we're using the notch talon because that's what we got. So as far as ascenders, I actually do have, I love CT. That's kind of what I started on when I first started using ascenders. And I've tried an ISC one. I've tried the notch jet step. And honestly, I've really liked the CT out of all of them. I do plan on potentially buying the turbojet from, I believe it's Camp who makes it. And I do want to try that out to see how that goes, because it looks pretty interesting. And I do like the fact that it doesn't have the spikes, because the thing about CT is it actually digs into the rope with these little teeth that it has. And same thing with the knee ascender. But as far as how it performs, it's great. Honestly, if you're thinking about buying ascenders and you don't know which one to buy, CT is a good start in my opinion. So can't go wrong with that. Me personally, because I like to avoid dog poop and stuff, I always like clipping onto the our Pro boots, the ascender straps that they have on the top. So I always just have a little mini carabiner here. That way I don't have to wrap this around my boot. Foot ascender, can't really do that, but you know, it is what it is. I just take it on and off. So for some of you that are transferring over to mechanical and think that you won't need prusik, believe me, it never hurts to have a couple of these, because these are just so versatile. You can use them so many different ways. This is life support, brand new. I don't use this for anything other than climbing. Once they get old enough, kind of like this, then I start using them for rigging, lighter rigging, stuff like that. They're still usable, so I don't throw them away. I like using them for rigging. So I always carry that with me. Well, not always, but in certain situations, I find it handy to have. This is just my old Adrenaline rope that got cut. And so what I did was I took the splice die end, since the cut was long enough but short enough that I could make I use this as a basil anchor tie. So it kind of sort of like how the ART snake is used. I kind of use that in a similar fashion, where I take it around, feed it through the splice die, and then I'm sure some of you have seen in the videos that I do. And if not, I can always go and do a rundown of that. If any of you are interested, please let me know. And then moving on, we have a couple of carabiners here. This is just an extra one that I carry on with me, Rock Exotica. Funny enough, I actually learned the other day, because I'm a big fan, and you'll see on my climbing saddle, of the swivel pulley that I carry on my bridge. And so the Hydra is made by Rock Exotica. Well, Rock Exotica Rocco carabiners actually glide extremely well, because of how small the point is right here into the actual pulley. The little holes that they make for the pulley on the swivel. And I didn't realize that until I tried putting a Petzl one in. I was like, huh. So they design their swivel pulley specifically for their types of carabiners, because the little point right here on the carabiner is actually a little bit more fine as opposed to some of the other carabiners that are on the market. And I can show you guys that too, but I just found that was a pretty interesting little thing. This roll clip by Petzl, really like it, especially on a Texas tug configuration. I don't have to do any funny business with a pulley. I can just have this, you know, for mechanical advantage. It's super nice. I do want to buy one that's triple locking, just because for life support, it would make me feel a lot more comfortable. But for the meantime, this has been working out pretty well, and yeah, really like that. And moving on, we have a friction saver. So I got this from West Spur. I don't remember the size of it, but it works on most things. For really big trees, it's not the best, especially when I'm trying to rappel down, because it's so small. I get a lot of friction through the ring, or through the rope running through the rings, just because it won't go around all the way. But it works for what I need it to. It's small, compact enough, and I really like using it for the cano base now, because I've started doing that, and I just find that it's really easy and comfortable to carry around. I had a really big one that a friend of mine gifted me, and honestly, I just didn't like carrying it around. It was too bulky, but this is like perfect size to have on the saddle. It's got a ring on a prusik, and yeah, from West Spur. Then this, some of you might have seen. If you follow my Instagram, I've done some videos, or a video using it. It's the new notch pebble. So I guess I can show you guys. It'll fit through the big ring, boom. And then once you get to the small one, it actually gets caught there. So yeah, I've been liking it so far. I have no complaints about it. Well, I guess a normal ball works just the same, but you know, I like new stuff, so can't complain about that. So yeah, That is kind of the more smaller stuff I have there. Now let's move on to some other stuff that I got. All right, so check it out. No good arborist is a good arborist without this. Because if you're gonna tell me that you're not gonna have some throw line on your kid, let's be real, guys, come on. Some of the best arborists that I know, like, they're insane with throw line, and I feel like that's something that we all need to get better at, just because, I don't know, it's one of those things that requires a lot of skill. It takes practice, it takes time, and nobody can pick it up and become proficient with it day to night. This is just one of those things that really like shows how much time and dedication that you've put in. So I'm not gonna ramble on that, but anyways, in my kit, throw line is very important because I like setting up a tie-in for most trees. It's very rare nowadays that I'll go up a tree without having a tie-in, and I say that when it comes to removals because sometimes you can spike up from the ground. A lot of the times for me it doesn't make sense. I prefer to have that tie-in. It just makes it a lot easier for me. It makes me feel more secure and safe. That way I can ascend with my lanyard faster than normal and I don't have to worry about the cinching tie-in or anything like that. Now in certain scenarios I will climb up as long as I have the double tie-in, but personally this is my go-to. I want to be really good with the throw ball and the throw line, I should say, and for me, I love it. So what do I got? This guys has been everything to me. Here it is recommended that you carry some this is 16 ounce. My boy Selvin broke my other one, ripped the ring out, so he swapped it out for a 16 ounce. But normally I carry 14 ounce here. Normally I started on 16 and that's what I used to throw with. I found 14 gives me a little bit better accuracy because I don't have to force the throw as much since it's not as heavy. But every now and then I will throw a 16, especially on really rough bark trees, some oaks, some hickory, stuff like that, locust trees. 16 ounce can kind of work real good because I can get it to come down a little bit better. The type of rope or throw line that I use is Dynaglide. Really, really nice. I love it. This stuff has been so good. It's really, really strong. Definitely worth the money because other lines are gonna rip day one. This, you could pull entire trees with this, and once it gets worn out, that's when it'll start to rip. But I've had lines for over a year, and they've probably only ripped once, maybe, if that. And that just depends on how hard you're pulling and what you're doing. But yeah, this stuff will last. The Notch pop-up box, like I said, really love it. I have no complaints about it. It's been holding up. I've had this for a couple months now and nothing too concerning overall. I mean, it's held up definitely. It's very durable. You can feel it's sturdy. I just love it. It's like having a toy every single time that you go to climb a tree, boom, you get to play. The other one that I carry with me is this ARB Session one. Now I do like these mainly for the comps, just because I feel that they're easier to carry for the competitions, but they do not hold up very well. So this is an ARB Session one. Again, we have some Dynaglide, some more. This is 16 ounce, some old tree stuff throw balls. I've been liking these Husqvarna ones, the 14, so. And this one, the thing I do like about this one is there's space for the carabiners here on the inside, and everything folds in real neat. But as you can tell right here, we're already getting some stuff jutting out. But yeah, I mean, this one I used for less than a year and I already had the issues with it, the sides coming out. ARB Session's a great company, but these throw line cubes don't really hold up too well. I had a Stein one before that. they're super expensive, and I feel like for the price that you pay for these, they should last a lot longer, and really they don't. But the Notch pop-up box, definitely, that's a go-to to definitely get. I highly recommend that, just because how it feels, how reinforced the corners are, it all feels super durable compared to something like this. Also in the wind, this will hold up a lot better than this. This will blow over, and this will stay on the ground. It's low enough to where the wind won't affect it as much. So another pro of that type of throw cube. And then always for throw ball manipulation, have some extras. I carry some 14, a little 12, and then another 16 on another accessory carabiner. These little accessory carabiners are honestly the best as well. I have a little screw gate one that I prefer to use nowadays too, when I clip on my rope to the throw line if I'm about to send it up, and I think that works really well. Because sometimes these ones that don't have that locking mechanism can actually get caught on a little sucker or something, get caught, unclip, and the whole thing comes out. I've had it happen. Trust me, the screw gate ones are worth it. But yeah, that is my little rant with throw line, because yeah, it's important to me. Okay, so I know some of you are probably like, let's get to the good stuff. Yeah, the saddle. We're here, everybody. Thank you for sticking around if you're still watching. Or maybe you skipped around. I think I'll do some chapters. That way you guys don't have to hear me ramble about the more boring stuff that might be boring to some of you. But for me, this is what I use. So, you know, y'all asked for it, I'm giving it to you. So I guess we'll start with the back. This is something that I've been trying out, kind of new. It is the Notch magnetic ditty bag. And you know, I thought it was gonna be big, I thought it was gonna be bulky and just really in the way. Quite honestly, I don't feel it. Just where it's positioned on my back here, where I put it, I really don't feel it. And look, I'm able to put 3 slings in there with the Pinto pulley. I have my quickie in there. I have a tourniquet in the back. This tourniquet I used to strap alongside the back here. It just made more sense to shove it in the bag. If I ever need to use it, God forbid, but if I ever would need to, it's a lot easier to reach into the bag, reach into my back, boom, pull it out, I got it ready, and then I'm ready to use it. Alongside with anything else, you guys know that I am a huge fan of slings. Webbing slings, they're so versatile. You can use them in so many different ways. I love them for rigging. I love them for work positioning. And I'm able to fit 3 of them here in the back. And it will be a little bit tight, but I'm still able to get it to close. I haven't had anything come falling out, so this thing has held up. And yeah, I can't complain about it. It's the Notch magnetic ditty bag. And it just latches on here on the back with this little clip. It's some Velcro. Put it on the back there. Moving on, now we have the lanyard that I use. It's just the old Notch lanyard. Nothing more I really need to say about this. I like the easy on and off with the clips. They tend to break real easy, but they're cheap enough that you can replace them. For smaller saws, I really like it just because, like I said, some trees you might need to fill up once in the tree or twice, whatever the case might be, depending on how big the tree is. So it's easy to clip off and send it down as opposed to taking off a whole system. But yeah, no complaints there. Moving on to this side, I have a Rock Exotica transporter. So I've been rocking that since I got the saddle, and this has probably, I think, a little over 2 years now of use. Still works good as new. I mean, I use it, can't really complain about it. I'm not gonna rave about it like I have with the other Notch Swinger, because really this is just, it's a good concept and everything, but I don't feel like it's as innovative as something like the Swinger. The room isn't the greatest. The little button here to close is a good idea. I think that it works really well because then it won't get snagged on anything and it works like it's intended to, but it's not innovative in my opinion, like the notch swinger. So can't say too much more on that. I'm not going to hate on the product. It is what it is. But in my opinion, now that we have something like the notch swinger, that's going to be my go-to. Anyways, moving on, here I have the Shem Beaner from CMI. This has worked for me. I have no complaints. This is a smaller version. I know they have an extra large version, but honestly, I don't feel like I ever needed something that big. I like, you know, this will fit most carabiners. This, you know, this fits the little clip, so I'm not doing like anything crazy that requires me to have an extra large carabiner. So it works just fine. Easy on and off for most stuff. And the way they designed it, you know, if you're hanging upside down or at a weird angle, it's not going to come out. So yeah, that's cool. Moving on. You guys know I rock the extra long lanyard. Yeah, daisy chained and all. So originally my idea was to stuff the lanyard into here. That really doesn't work too well. So now I'll kind of show you guys a setup. This thing has helped a lot. This is the K1 Keeper by Twiffleberger. If you have a lanyard that's extra long, this kind of helps to manage that type of stuff. But since this is so long, I daisy chain it like so. And then I actually have this system built onto it because it's a double lanyard. So I just have a VT set up on a hitch climber pulley, which I use as an MRS system sometimes. And I will clip that onto one of the links here in the daisy chain. Then I can go towards like the middle section, you know, choose another link right here, clip the main end here, and then I'll come back down here, clip it onto the notch swinger, and it actually shortens down the length even more. So now it's almost the same length as a normal lanyard. And I find it, I know it looks like a mess, but believe me, I hardly feel it when I'm climbing. For the most part, it's out of the way. And honestly, I'm probably gonna start swapping lanyards depending on what type of trees I do, just because that makes more sense. But for now, this is what I'm rocking. I like it a lot. For day-to-day use, this is so versatile. It just helps me with so many things, so that's what I use. On my other end here, I have the ART Positioner 2 with the swivel, and then just some DMM Perfecto carabiners. I like the Perfecto. They're small, slender, they fit in the palm of your hand. They're just real nice to keep out of the way, so that's why that's my go-to. I swapped out, I originally had the D-shaped notch carabiners, but I had to put them out of service. I've had them for 2 years and one of them was not locking properly. So put it out of service, no longer using them for life support. Swapped them out. I got these carabiners from Cheryl Tree at the TCIA, really cheap. I'll probably end up swapping these out again too, but for now that's just what I'm gonna use. This right here though, guys, if there's one thing that you wanna get as well on your lanyard, it's definitely a thimble. Thimble on a little prusik. This is by, it's the DMM, let me see, what do they call this thing? Well, I'll look it up for you guys and I'll put it down, you know, in the, I'll put a caption or whatever of whatever the name is. I forget, I think it's the Ocean Loop or something like that, but I forget the exact name. But this thing for work positioning on spar works, on awkward limb walks, whatever the case might be, this thing is super useful because you can essentially create a cinching tie-in point with the thimble, and so it creates more of a secure position for you in just some really awkward positions. And we all know tree work, it can be awkward sometimes. So for something so small, it is definitely something that I will always have on my kit, just because for work positioning, it's the best. But yeah, this is another new thing that I have, the notch swinger. I've raved about it. You guys have seen the shorts. If you follow my Instagram, you've seen the reels as well. Really like it. It goes up, it goes down. I've had 5/8 rope on it, big old sling on there, multiple things. I can carry multiple slings. And so the cool thing too is the way that it locks, it's always out of the way. Now it feels really cheap compared to something like the transporter, but you know, we'll see how long it lasts, obviously. But for now, it's holding up. I've been really impressed. For this being full, it's really nice that you can pull this up, because the thing about the transporter is it always has to go down. And so the issue there is if you have this entire area full, you're kind of out of luck. But with this, you're able to pull this up, you're able to pull stuff out, and you don't have to be fishing around, you know, especially like we talked about in uncomfortable situations. You want to be able to grab what you need fast and do it, right? You don't want to be waiting around trying to jumble stuff around. And you know, in the heat of the work, stuff gets jumbled around. Like, we try to stay organized, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. We're trying to get stuff done and get out of that tree. But this thing allows me to do that, and it's highly worth it in my opinion. Especially for like newer things that I've seen, I feel like it's worth it. So moving on to the front of the saddle. The saddle itself, I guess I should mention, it's the Twiffleberger Evo. This is the one before the newest one that just came out. So I forget what it was. I think it's just the Tree Motion Evo. I got some Monkey Beaver suspenders. I put them through the wash, and so had to do the old tree man fix with some duct tape. But it's working for now. I really like the suspenders. They help, especially with the saws, kind of keep the saddle upright and some of that pressure off of your hips and off of your lower back, which is the more important thing. Tree work tends to kill people's backs, so the less pressure that I have on my lower back, the better. And suspenders definitely help in that regard. So this right here, they call it the keyback. I like it for multiple different things. Now, I've used this for the lanyard, not the lanyard, excuse me, the handsaw. Currently, the way that I use it now is for my pocket wedge, and I've been in certain scenarios where the pocket wedge comes into play, and also I carry a carabiner here. So whether it be a handsaw, whether it be some piece of equipment, I can quickly clip onto it, boom, and it's always going to be connected to me. So if I, for whatever reason, like let's say I'm doing a cut with a handsaw and I got to grab stuff really quick, well, I can clip this onto the handsaw, make the cut, drop the handsaw away from me, and then I can grab the piece, like the limb, if it's too heavy for me, something like that, you know. That's how I use it in those scenarios. Here, I carry a little knife. This is just on the off chance. Again, God forbid something were to happen, I can cut a rope real quick or something like that. Just trying to be prepared for anything, essentially. But I've never had to use it in an emergency situation. But if I needed to, I got it right there with me. Most of the times I just use it to cut ropes. If I'm cutting off an end that's bad or something like that, then this is a pretty nice knife by Petzl. Here on the actual connection of the suspenders, I carry the Magneto. Again, short tether, because that's the way that it's been working best. And I also carry this extra Petzl accessory carabiner. I think it's cool because you can lock it and it won't go anywhere. So if you don't want it to be jumbling around like sometimes it does. But now with this, with the rope runner, I don't have to worry about that. This came off my recoil suspenders, and I really like it because it brings a little swivel, so I can put an accessory carabiner here and just use it as a swivel. When I get tired of this or buy a new pair of suspenders, I'll probably end up cutting this little swivel out or something and just utilizing it for something that requires a swivel that is not life support, because I'm a big fan of swivels. Alrighty, so lastly but not least, we come to the bridge. So here, love the double bridge. Again, on awkward angles, you can kind of have your bridge at weird angles and separated, which is really nice. I got the floating ring here, and I carry a Rock Exotica Hydra swivel pulley here on my main bridge, which I carry a Perfecto carabiner right there in the center hole. And so like we talked about, remember, this is the Petzl OK carabiner. If I try to clip it in here, I gotta force it just a little bit. And to get it out, it's gotta be kind of the right angle. But if I introduce a Rock Exotica carabiner, it glides in there super smooth. So I found that to be pretty interesting. Same thing with the DMM, but I'll show you guys on the other hole. Like, you gotta struggle a little bit to get it in there and wiggle it. But with the Rock Exotica one, the way they designed it, it actually glides in there super smooth. So I could go the whole way around, boom, boom, and not have to fight it, and it comes out just as easy. The swivel on the bridge, I like it a lot. I think it's definitely worth it too. Especially, like we talked about, a lot of these things are just like, they're quality of life equipment. They're gonna help you and you're not gonna notice them every single time. But when you get to those certain scenarios and they add up, because we're not doing tree work for a week, we're doing tree work for years, you know, we might have an entire career. So when you get to those situations where these pieces of equipment help you, you're gonna realize like, oh wow, I could have been struggling, now this is actually helping me. And I just say that because I've noticed it in my own personal experience. That's the way that it's gone. Like, these things have actually helped me. It's not every single day. Obviously, you can go up, straight up and down, and it's an easy climb, and you'd need the bare bones for equipment. You wouldn't need all this stuff, right? But we're not doing that every single day. So just realize that when you see all this gear, yeah, it's a lot of stuff, but the stuff that I carry with me, I know that for whatever given scenario that I'm in, it's gonna help me, and that's the reason that I carry it. And I've been the guy that has been unprepared. I've been the guy that has gone up a tree and not had anything, you know. I've had just a lanyard, a handsaw, and a chainsaw. But now having all this other stuff, I'm able to utilize different tricks to not only be safer, but I can be more efficient, and I don't have to take as risky plays because I'm allowed more versatility in how I work. And I don't have to make the excuse of, oh, I one-handed cut because I couldn't position myself correctly, right? Or I cut that limb too big because I couldn't go further out on it. You know, stuff like that. So keep that in mind, guys. All this stuff does have a purpose. It isn't just for shits and giggles to buy a bunch of stuff and spend a bunch of money. Believe me, I would rather save it, spend it on something a little more exciting, but you know, it does help at the end of the day. So yeah, rant over. Let's get to the next thing. All right, for the few of you that stuck around for this entire video, I saved the best for last. Yes, you are all about to be blessed by what's in my little businessman briefcase here. So check it out, guys. Now, I've teased this and some of you might know, but check it out. These are my climbing devices. This is currently what I'm rocking. My main go-to, this is kind of what I started on for as far as like SRT is concerned. Rope Runner Pro. Bought this thing a little over 2 years ago, and it's still holding on pretty well. It is a little worn. I don't know if you can see that too well, but maybe I'll put it closer. Yeah, you see a little bit of wear and tear there, so it has gotten a little bit of action. Put on the little magnetic neck tether there. I can't complain about this. This is honestly one of the best engineered pieces of devices that I've used. I really like it. Haven't had any issues with it, so all around, it gets a thumbs up from me. Yeah. This right here, a buddy of mine from work let me use it. So originally I wanted to buy this first, and so I'll tell you guys a little funny story. Back when I was trying to buy or started looking at mechanical devices, it was around a couple years ago, around Thanksgiving. So they were having a Black Friday deal, and they had the black akimbo, and I recall seeing it. And to this day, I kick myself for not buying the stuff to get one, because if you spent, I think, around $1,000, which I was gonna do anyways, you would get a black akimbo. Well, it was limited edition. Now you can't get it anymore. You're not gonna find one anywhere. So anyways, all that to say, I rock the akimbo. I really like it for using it as a secondary tie-in. Sometimes on spar work, this thing is really nice. This one is a little bit worn, so I wouldn't recommend it for beginners, because there's a little more intricacy with not only adjustment, although the adjustment is super easy. Basically, these little tabs you can pull down, and then when you open it, these little pins here, you can slide out and adjust the friction that way. So I don't know if you can see that, hopefully. And then there's little rods or little pins, whatever you want to call them, that go down into the holes. So once you have it in place, you push in on this and pull back down on the tab. Boom, boom, and that's how you adjust friction. So in that regard, the akimbo has made it super easy. But what I really like it for is if I need that secondary tie-in, again, for work positioning, like, it's just that simple. Open it, it's on, boom. As opposed to something like this, where I have to, with each individual slick pin, you know, and then slide your rope in. It's just a lot of extra work. So normally I will use the rope runner as my primary tie-in, and then I'll carry this as my secondary tie-in if I need it for work positioning. Now this is what I tell you guys that you're blessed to see. Now I've teased it, I've shown it a little bit, and I can do a more in-depth guide. I've been trying to get a lot more information on this, because the only information I have currently is what a friend of mine told me, and a friend of mine is actually who gifted me this. So a very good friend of mine gifted me this, and this is the OG rope runner. And from what he told me is there was an original set of 30 that were sold. When Kevin Bingham first made them, he advertised them on a web page, and 30 people bought them. And those 30 people got their names actually engraved, or not engraved, but their names on the actual rope runner. So I don't know if you guys can see, but on the inside there's actually a name. And so I literally own a piece of climbing history, because only 30 people in the world have these. So yeah, really cool piece of equipment here. I plan on using it for the comps, really. I rarely take this out to work just because of how rare it is, but it's something that I'm probably going to keep with me for the better part of my career. Not only because of the sentimental value, a good friend of mine gave me this, and but I just think it's super cool to be able to be a part of that. I unfortunately came a little too late in this industry to have been a part of something like that, but to hold this in my hands and to be able to share it with other people, and I just think it's super cool. So OG Rope Runner, guys. This is like the first official viewing that I'm showing anybody. So hopefully I don't get robbed. But yeah, super cool stuff. But yeah, we will move on to the last thing that I got. Alrighty, so finally and lastly, we have our gear storage. So I've been trying out this new Notch approach bag, and currently what I have in it is a brand new Ecstatic line by Twiffleburger. It's 200 feet. It's been holding up well. I like how compact it is. It's got all these little webbings on the inside for carabiners and stuff like that. So it's really nice. Waterproof too. One of the cool things too is they designed this pocket right here for the pop-up box. And so it makes it super nice because you can put it in there, boom. Then you can put a handsaw in there as well. It'll have enough room for that. Here on the front, they have a zipper, so if you want to put carabiners, little accessory stuff, whatever, you can do that. On the outside, they have more webbing, little things. I like to keep my Big Boss recoil lanyard on here for my 500i. And yeah, overall, no complaints on the bag. I think it's been holding up pretty well so far. I like it. Again, I needed something a little more compact. I have the Notch, I forget the name of it, but it's the one that flips open. It was just getting too bulky with too much stuff. And then my other one, and could you tell which type of line is my favorite? More Ecstatic. This is 150 feet in the Monkey Beaver rope bag. This is the 200-foot bag, so I really like these, especially for when you're picking up your line. It's super nice to be able to put it on your waist and not have to bend down and do all that. So yeah, overall, no complaints there. They're good bags, both of them. I like them for what they do, so yeah. So there you have it, everybody. That is all the stuff that I have on my kit, at least currently here right now. As I get more stuff, like I said, I'll do an updated video maybe in like 6 months or something, because I do plan on buying some of the newer stuff coming out in April. But for now, you'll just have to make do with this video. But if any of you have any questions or anything like that, or want me to delve deeper into some of the stuff that I have or some of the other stuff that I didn't show, then let me know. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.